Hello, it's February 14th. It's Sunday. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm coming to you a little bit late today. It's supposed to be Sunday morning, but it's not. We're Sunday evening, so hopefully you still get to see this video. We're talking about people's calls in the Bible, and our lesson today, which is a lesson 11 in the book, is about Mary Magdalene, and it's entitled that A Faithful Disciple. So we're using 3 different scriptures today talking about Mary Magdalene. We know that she's been mentioned several times in the Bible. The author of our lesson wanted us to take a look at something that's been compared to her that we believe, that he believes is really not part of the story of Mary Magdalene, but we do know that she has been the person that the scriptures say she specifically was delivered of demons. But many people over the years have said that she's the one who broke open the alabaster box and poured the oils on Jesus' feet, and that she was that sinful woman that came into that meeting place when they were at the home of Simon. And to draw attention to that possibly was not Mary Magdalene, but another person. It really doesn't make a big difference to our story today, but just for clarity, how over the years stories can mesh together. One person may put 2 and 2 together and get 5, and then the tradition will carry on through the years. I don't personally know that it is or is not Mary, but like I said, I don't really feel like that's so important to our story today. We're bringing out 3 different scriptures in our lesson, and the first one is from the Gospel of Luke. And that is where we're talking about Mary, and it mentioned that 7 demons were cast out of her. But she was part of the group of women that were with the disciples, following the disciples early in Jesus' ministry. And so that might be a starting point. She might have been set free, but then she joined along. There were women, the disciples, they followed Jesus, they were listening to his teachings, and they pretty much followed him everywhere that he went. The second mention of Mary is in the Gospel of Mark. And Mary's at the crucifixion scene. Now, I don't think she's right there at the cross with the mother of Jesus, but she is looking on and she is watching the crucifixion. And I kind of was, as I pondered this, I was thinking, she had been following with the disciples, following Jesus. She had invested her time. She had invested her money. They helped to take care of the disciples financially, and here she is standing at the cross. All her hopes, all the dreams of what Jesus was to the world, it just seemed like it was all going up in smoke, and she was at the crucifixion, which I believe would have been very difficult for anyone. But she had already been a devoted disciple. Our third scripture is from the Gospel of John, and this is a scene after the crucifixion. And we find Mary at the tomb, and she's weeping. She had gone to the tomb to make preparation of the body. It was part of what the Jews did at that time. And I was even, like I said, pondering, some of these are a little bit my thoughts of what could have been going on with Mary, but after all the traumatic things that had been happening, I believe that going to this tomb and getting Jesus ready for burial in the Jewish tradition probably gave some type of hope in the middle of a mess. And I just believe that as she went to the tomb, she was going there to bring some type of order in what was a chaotic scene, and also to bring some dignity, because she knew Jesus was the Son of God. She knew that he had a special mission, and she didn't follow him for nothing. She believed in who he was, and she believed even though they went through these things, she didn't let her beliefs go. She might have been perplexed. She might have wondered what in the world's going on, but she went as part of a tribute to Jesus' life and to give him some respect, where those last few days there was no respect for Jesus, no respect for who he was. He was treated like an animal, but she still followed. As she gets to the tomb, she discovers that the stone has been rolled away and the body is gone. So Mary in our story is now the one who goes off to the disciples and lets them know the stone is rolled away. What happened to Jesus? And I don't know if it was more than Peter and John, but disciples had raced back and saw what had happened. And then they left again, and Mary was still there. And she's staring at the sepulcher, the one that is empty, wondering what is happening and where is Jesus. And she spies two angels sitting right where the body had laid, and they're asking her, Mary, why are you weeping? And then behind her is somebody standing in the garden area, because she's still crying. She wants to know, bring back the body. Where have you laid him? And she turns around and she hears, Mary, why are you weeping? And she turns around and said, if you have taken the body of Jesus, please tell me where it is so I can take care of. I will get the body and I will take care of it. I will do all the preparation. And then the one behind her says, Mary. And right away, she knows it's Jesus. Even though none of this stuff made sense to her, she recognized Jesus. And she rushes to him and he tells her, no, that you can't hold on to me now, but go back and tell the disciples that I am alive. I was dead, but now I'm alive. And Mary rushed back to the disciples with the story. So as we recount this, and isn't it funny that Mary, who at one time had to have demons put out of her, was the one who was at the cross, watching her Savior die, at the graveside, meeting angels, finding out what's going on, letting her, Mary, why are you weeping? Woman, why art thou weeping? She's the first one to go to the disciple and say, the stone's rolled away. And then she's the first one to go to the disciples and say, I have seen the Lord. That was her mission at that time. So the reason that they brought out Mary Magdalene in these three scriptures is to say, Mary Magdalene did not have a whole lot of scriptures in the Bible about her. But number one, she was a woman, and it showed that women were following Jesus. Also, Mary participated and learned as all the disciples did. She was learning, growing in what Jesus was teaching, and following him. She was learning the ways of life, and later, I'm sure, became one of the disciples that went out after the resurrection. She stuck by Jesus no matter what he went through the good times, through the bad times, and as I said, as a follower, even after the resurrection when the church was being birthed. She carried the messages of hope to the disciples. Mary's life, even though our book talks about how she's only mentioned several times, but the times that she's mentioned in the Bible are very impactful times, things where we can really pay attention and we can learn from. Just being there at the cross, being there at the tomb, running to the disciples, following him wherever he went. Mary's life, even though a few sentences in the Bible, has made a difference. So that's what we're talking about today. Maybe you're doing something and not a lot of people know about it, or there's not a lot of recognition, but that doesn't matter, because Somebody is being touched by your life somewhere. One of our questions in our study today is, if all that people could know about you came from 2 short stories from your life, which 2 do you think you would tell the most about who you are and what you believe? I find this question very intriguing. If somebody's going to remember your life for something, what do you want them to remember you for? We don't have to have a lot of words about who we are, but we can make an impact. So when we think of Mary and we think of other people, they still had calls, even though maybe they didn't write the gospel, or maybe like Paul, who has so many books in the Bible. But there are a lot of different people that have come alongside him, and they were all called by God. What do we want to leave behind when we're gone? Mary left a story where not a whole lot of women got in the Bible at that time. They weren't always treated well, but that's not how Jesus was. And that's not how God was either. Women meant just as much to God. But those few lines gave the story of a life of a woman who devoted herself to Jesus, to his ministry. She was a voice. She made a difference. So let the story of your life also make a difference. Doesn't have to be a lot of words, but you can make an impact. You know, I'm thinking about the times that we're in and how this last year has been kind of crazy and chaotic. But even in the chaos, Mary did things that brought some normalcy to the life around her, that touched and reached out to people. She could have run away, but she didn't. So in your life, make a difference. Reach out to those who might need you. Reach out. It can be something so simple. Sometimes a smile or a kind word can make the difference of somebody's day. And when I think about the pressure that so many people are under right now, and they're disconnected from other people, it's been difficult. So your kindness or the things you do can make a big difference. I guess that's what I'd like you to contemplate. Take this question about the 2 stories that you might tell out of your life that are going to signify what you've done. And it may not sound really great, but I'm going to give you an example right now. Today I received a gift from somebody, and it was so kind. And this isn't to just pat myself on the back, but sometimes little things that we do can make a big difference to other people. And my gift was because for somehow the little things that I did made a big difference in somebody else's life. I'm never going to get an award for it. Nobody's going to write a story about it, but it made a difference. And it was just simple things that I normally would do, things that come easy for me. It's just giving a sacrifice of love. And since it's Valentine's Day, our sacrifice of love makes a big difference for all. So I hope you do all have a great Valentine's Day. Sorry you're getting this video so late, and I thank Pastor Bob for putting it on the YouTube, even though he had to do it after he did everything else. So thank you, and Walmer's Church, we love you, and we miss you all, and we just appreciate you. And thank you, and have a good evening.